Welcome to wasmCloud Wednesdays for Wednesday, November the 17th, 2021. We've got a quick meeting today, but as usual, we'll start with a demo. Brooks, over to you.
All right, how's it going, everyone? I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Thank you, Liam, for ahead of time permissions. It's pretty sweet. All right, so I'm gonna show you a demo of a new feature that we have in the wasmCloud dashboard. So just to get started, I'm going to start an actor and a provider that you may or may not have seen before. Let's go ahead and get the echo actor running. This is the one you just want to hit an HTTP endpoint, it'll give you the same request back. And then we'll go ahead and get the wasmCloud HTTP server provider running. Now, as usual, once we start this actor and this provider, they communicate over a contract. We're going to define a link definition and get them communicating. As soon as this downloads from OCI, I'll go ahead and link our echo actor and our HTTP server provider together on the wasmCloud HTTP server contract, and we'll have it listen on port 8083. Does this look right? Let's see, Jordan.
Nothing I in import. Oh, import.
Oh, that's right. I have a port. Oh no, I've defined a link definition and it has the wrong values. So what did I do? 8083. If I try localhost 8083, just gonna spin. I guess that was wrong. Darn. Oh, okay. Here's what I can do. I can just kill my host, and that'll get rid of everything. So I just killed it in the background. I'll go ahead and bring that back up. Oh, that's right. We're using NAT's Jetstream distributed cache, so these link definitions persist as long as the NAT server is running. Okay, so previously in the washboard, this is where you would stop NATs, start over, get everything done, but we have this handy dandy new feature called deleting a link definition, where we can just go ahead and delete that from the washboard. And I'm kind of making light of this because it seems small. It's like a little trash can on the UI to get rid of a link definition. This is something that if you wanted to change a port, or as I did, I put in the wrong value and panicked, you can delete it, redefine another link definition, and then you'll be good to go. So in my case, I defined that one with like an import. Now, if I just want to go back through the same process again and actually do port equals 8083, I can go to my other tab and hit that just fine. So like I said, I'm making light of this because it's a small feature add. It's something that we have had available in the control interface for a little while now. So you could drop down to the wash level and do this in the command line. But this is really big for the developer experience, right? When you start, because if you were to link, 3 or 4 different actors together with 3 or 4 different providers, and you accidentally type in the values wrong or accidentally do the wrong contract ID, you're kind of stuck with either going back to the command line or just like completely restarting NATs. So now, you can define this on 8083. If I just decide that I wanted to host that on a different port, you can delete the link definition and redefine that to be like 8084, and that works just fine. I know it looks like nothing changed, but we changed ports. The wasmCloud capability providers are handling like deleting and re-adding a link definition and changing listeners and everything. Yeah, just wanted to demo that little feature. That was something that came up once or twice in our community Slack about deleting link definitions. So big value for a little thing.
Brooks,
yeah.
where in the roadmap is update LinkDefs?
Yeah, update LinkDefs is something that we could probably do today. We've talked about this before in our roadmap about, do we want to support just a straight update of link definitions? And what we came across is that in the UI, in something like the washboard, something like an update action would be perfect. But behind the scenes, what that's going to end up being is an explicit delete link definition, and then create a new one. So essentially what I'm doing here, but just a little more polished. And the reason being is that keeps it simpler for capability provider developers. You don't have to handle a create link definition, a delete, and then an update as well. You can just deal with handling a delete and a create.
Now, talk to me about, what happens in the intermediate state here when there's no link def defined. What happens to messages that should go out provider?
Yeah, so in that little couple of seconds through the UI or whatever, when you're doing that, the messages, for this case, like the HTTP server, it's not going to be listening on that port for anything. So during that that would be a little period of downtime. The goal of, I think that'd be a great target for something like an update link definition, which is just to do that as fast as possible. And realistically, this is not going to be something you're going to want to do all the time in like a production environment. This would be mostly useful for kind of shows like developer mistakes or like transitioning environments. But if it involves NATS messages, we can get them to queue up. But in this specific case for like an HTTP request, it would take a little more logic to like wait for a link definition to be established.
Yeah. All right, great. Does anyone have any questions for Brooks? All right. Well, thank you so much, Brooks. Much appreciated. And as always, appreciate the hard work. I hear on a personal note that you are going to be leaving Capital One. Is that true?
That is true. I have put in my 2 weeks notice at Capital One today. I'm very excited to be joining the Cosmonic team here at the beginning of December. So I'll be able to put even more time towards working on WebAssembly and wasmCloud and solving the problem that we've all been working towards. So I'm very excited.
Wasm all the things. That's awesome, Brooks. And I can't tell you, just on a personal note, also working at Cosmonic, how excited I am to get to work with you again full time. I love working with you at Capital One, and it was over a year ago. So I think that's awesome. A couple quick announcements. Transparency report for the CNCF WebAssembly Day will be out shortly. We'll get that posted in the interim, and we've already started planning for Valencia, Spain in 2022. So we currently have submissions open in through December, but we're going to try to pull the WebAssembly submit date out a few months at least to give people time to pull things together. And I've requested that permission formally, and we're going to kick off another totally new group of leaders and WebAssembly community members in order to continue to try to build a diverse coalition. And I hope as many of you can make it as possible. For anybody that's in the Washington, D.C. area, in the government space, there's currently a WebAssembly for Government event that is under preliminary planning. If you're interested in that, please just let me know and I can connect you with the stakeholders. It will be a public forum. So I look forward to include as many people as possible in that. I'm going to invite a number of people to that event, and on behalf of a few different organizations that are interested in what we're working on. And I think that's it for right now on the community announcements. We've got a couple more things in the works to announce in the next few weeks. Any other just open community announcements? Okay. One last thing for anybody watching at home. Next week, we'll likely cancel this meeting because it's the week of Thanksgiving. And I know Thanksgiving Eve is a continual travel date, and the week after is reInvent. I will be at reInvent for anyone who's there, and I would love to meet up with anybody for anybody who's going. I may put together a little WASM evening out and just do a call to action. Maybe we'll involve some beverages together. Maybe not. We're still working on some plans, but I will let folks know. And I think, Brooks, you were going to do a community call out. Is that correct?
Yeah. I wanted to continue our session or section from last week. I'm going to go ahead and start it out by thanking Blake Willoughby for doing our first contributor call out, taking an issue from that segment and getting it done. So really excited for that. And we're going to be getting a t-shirt to him, which will be, or to them, which will be very exciting. So if you haven't seen this segment before, we started it last week. It's just a section where I take issues that we have in just across the wasmCloud organization, mark them with good first issue, and try to incentivize people to contribute for the first time, or a repeat contributor if you're looking for something to jump back in. So this one got finished, which is great. I've got 2 issues this week for the community call out. The first one is kind of a rollover from last week. It's in the OTP runtime. It's kind of changing the timing for our health checks. So when you start an actor and a capability provider, essentially in that initialization logic, we tell the actor or the provider, say, hey, send a health check request to you, like from Elixir, send to the actual provider or the actor, send a health request in 30 seconds. And so the thing that we would love to change here is just to send that health check essentially right away, maybe after just a couple of seconds. And that way we don't have to wait. If you look in the washboard, it'll take you 30 seconds to see the updated health check. So we just want to get that out of the way really quickly. So this one is a great issue for anybody, even if you're an Elixir OTP novice. This would be a great way to get a contribution in. I've kind of documented some places where this logic is taking place and some standard library things that may help. This one would be great for the runtime. And then the second one is in Wash. This is a feature to use the wasmCloud, the same logic that we use for wasmCloud for caching OCI artifacts, and using that for the claims inspect for actors and the par inspect command for capability providers. So the net effect of this is anytime you run something like claims inspect to inspect the embedded JWT of an actor, if you use a remote OCI registry, you're going to download the actor every single time. And this isn't exactly what wasmCloud, the runtime, does. We actually use a local cache, and if it matches something we've used before, we just pull that from disk. And so I'd love for Wash to be able to do the same thing. Makes it a lot quicker for especially capability providers. You don't have to download a 20 megabyte tarball or parball, and it gives more accurate information. So this would be something great for someone who has a little bit of Rust experience. I've wrote out how we do our caching logic. We have a function that you can reference. And yeah, that's our community call out. We have one for the Wash CLI tooling and one for the OTP runtime. So I'll drop these issues in the wasmCloud channel just after the call, and make sure to check this out if you're interested in contributing.
Hey, Jordan, do you think you could tweet out those links when we post the video? Tweet out, maybe we do a tweet for the for the video itself. Hey, community calls out wasmCloud Wednesday, and then do you think we could do a follow-up tweet that is maybe hey, here's the community call out. Here's a link to a couple issues, join us for a t-shirt or something.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I guess open floor now. We've got somewhat of a quick meeting today. We've got a bunch of the key folks are actually on a customer motion at the moment, or a community motion at the moment, helping a community member put wasmCloud into production. So they could not attend today. So roadmap review and a weekly sprint update, we'll just drop those into Slack for those of you that are following along with those. And I guess just open floor for anyone else that has anything they wanted to bring up today. Okay. All right. Well, I think with that, I'll go ahead and stop recording. And as usual, we can hang out. Thank you guys for joining us.